Welcome to Dead Time with your host, Holly Faust. Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Dead Time Tales. My guest today is Gwendolyn Purcell. Gwendolyn is a dedicated Bigfoot researcher who is very passionate about unraveling the mystery surrounding this elusive creature. As the owner of Got Knockers, she is committed to exploring and investigating the phenomena of Bigfoot with a relentless determination to uncover the truth. Gwendolyn's never ending desire to seek answers and her unwavering commitment to her research make her a respected figure in the field of Bigfoot studies. So, everybody, let's welcome Gwendolyn to the show.
Hi, I'm excited to be here.
I am so excited too. And, guys, the great thing about Gwendolyn is that she lives maybe a mile or two away from me. So
Right?
I absolutely love it because then I get all the Bigfoot news and information, especially locally. So, you do Bigfoot. You are my first cryptid researcher that I'm
That's
having on the
exciting.
show, which I am so excited about because a lot of people forget that cryptozoology and cryptid research are actually a part of the paranormal. They think it's all about ghost hunting and ghost investigation, and they kind of forget about cryptozoology, the ufology. They forget about, the psi experimentations. So I am so excited to have. So you can just share a little bit about you and some of the things you're doing right now, and we'll just go from there.
Well, I have so much going on in life. It's not even funny. Let's see. I started a magazine.
Yes, I am so excited about that.
And I might have a copy here. I probably don't. No, I don't think I do. Geez, let's see. What else am I doing? I'm creating this magazine that's all about cryptids and paranormal and UFOs and true crime and the crazy stuff that you just can't believe, that's out there. And we're doing it all in one magazine, so it's going to be awesome. Let's see. What else have I got going on? Oh, I got Knockers, of course.
Yep, you got Knockers, which I have to get a new shirt because mine is like a nightgown on me now.
Oh, I bet, because you've lost so much weight. I'm so excited for you. I'm one of your biggest fans. I'm back here going,
yeah, I know. You guys are always like, keep going.
Oh my gosh, you're doing fantastic, and I'm so jealous. But I just don't want to take that leap yet. So I'm still on the. I gotta lose weight my way.
When you're ready. I had to do it because I had no choice. My stomach was paralyzed. So.
Oh no.
Yeah, but you have so much going on.
So much going on.
And you just got back from England.
I did. I just got back from England literally last night. I walked in the door. So.
I know, and I forgot to remind you about today. And I'm like, I'm so awful because I was with my husband until late, and then I just get so tired, and I'm like, I'll deal with it in the morning.
Yeah. And you messaged me, and it's like, here's the link for today, and I'm like, oh shit, because I was like, I'm like, what time is it? You're like, noon. I'm like, no problem. I just got to fix my hair. No problem.
Yeah, you have to fix yours. I just had to put mine on. So
sometimes I wish I had to just put it on and go.
Dude, I've lost so much hair. So I like changing the colors.
Yeah. Oh, me too. But I do it in a box.
Yeah. See, now I just do it. I have 2 more coming in this week, a green one and then one that's like powder blue and pink. So yeah.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. But yeah, and I mean, I was excited to see you venturing over to the UK. That's my dream to someday go over there.
Yeah.
So I trace my roots because my dad's family actually are Bruces from Scotland and Ireland. So.
Oh, let me tell you. I actually said out loud over there the other day, somebody was like, so what do you think of England? And I'm like, I don't know. How do you feel about swearing? Because I'm a swearer. So I'm like,
I am too.
I'm like, this place is fucking beautiful. And and the guy looked at me, he's like, I know. And I'm like, why? Why does everywhere I go have to be so effing beautiful? Why can't you people suck?
Right.
Why can't you make it happy for me to go home? And he started really laughing. And I was like, this is so beautiful. One of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my life. And I was like,
I've heard that my cousin lives in Ireland, in Waterford.
Another one, Ireland.
And when he takes pictures and sends them to me, I'm like, I hate you.
Yes.
Because I would love to be there. And I sometimes curse my dad, but then, he would have never met my mother and I wouldn't be here.
Right.
So, but I just think, oh man, I would love to go back. I'm like,
Oh, they're
Totally would love to go over there.
it is so beautiful.
That's amazing. And
So
did
beautiful.
you actually go Bigfoot hunting while you were there?
Well, I can't say a whole lot
Yes,
because
you're filming a documentary. I do know that.
I'm signed by an NDA, but they um they did say that we were out in Dartmoor, so I think at least I can at least say that much.
Right.
And let me tell you, so beautiful, so beautiful.
That
But
is
we
so
were
awesome.
looking for the possibility of Bigfoot. They do have, I mean, Ireland, England, Scotland, they all have a
And
very
and
rich
I didn't
paranormal history.
really realize, like, I mean, I know, like, from being Irish and, hearing stories of the
Yes,
Fae and brownies and, of course, the Loch Ness Monster, but I had never heard of stories of Bigfoot.
there are some there's some everywhere,
Right.
everywhere. But they do have some recorded Bigfoot sightings,
That is so awesome.
and they have recorded big cat sightings and lots of paranormal
Well, I
events
know
that
they're very
happen. And
high
oh
paranormal. Like, I hear
yeah,
like Edinburgh up in Scotland is like a hot spot. And
yeah.
yeah, I was actually on a show myself as a podcast with Spooks and Ghouls.
Hmm.
And, we talked about like, they said, well, where would you want to go? And I'm like, I want to go to, Queen Mary's Close in Edinburgh. And why? Everybody wants to go there. And I'm like, well, and then when you guys say you want to come somewhere here in the US, we're always like, well, why do you want to go there? You have so
Right,
much
right.
history over there. So I can totally understand.
Yeah.
And, now I know from having talked to you, but even here in PA, we do have, sightings of Bigfoot.
Absolutely, we do.
And I know I have had sightings, people have said there have been sightings behind my house. So,
Well, you do not live far from me, and
right,
I had a sight, which is what started this whole thing, because I didn't believe in Bigfoot before.
right.
I was like, yeah, whatever, if it is, it is. If it isn't, it isn't, whatever. And never gave it another thought until I saw this giant black thing walking across the cornfield. And funny, he was going in the direction of your house.
Of course.
So, like, I was, I've hunted in this area my whole life,
Mhm.
and I've never seen anything like that in my life. Never, never, never. And I literally spent all day trying to like put a label on it.
Rationalize it?
Is it like a bear? No, not a bear. There's no way that was a bear. It doesn't walk like that. It just doesn't move like that. Like I'm, and at the end of the day, the only thing I had left to compare it to was a Bigfoot. And that's what started this whole rabbit hole journey I've been on ever since.
And how long ago was that? Because I know I've lived here
Oh,
25 years. I
yeah,
moved down here in 98 now, and I came from north up near Scranton, between
right.
Scranton and Binghamton. And I never heard stories up there. But I don't know, maybe there were. But like when you had shared with me, and I was like, no, but yet my daughter, who spent a lot of time up in the woods
Mm-hmm.
behind our house, would tell us like, it feels like it's alive up there. And she told me stories about how and I'm not allowed to say this word around her, but she's not here right now, so I can, that she's seen a skinwalker
Right.
up there. And so that's when I started, like, I never got into the cryptid side of things. I always had an
Right.
interest in it. And, the team I was with at one time did research the Jersey Devil up in the Pine Barrens.
Another one of my faves.
Yes, and so, I had that background, but I never before, thought it would be so close to home. And,
Right.
being
Right.
indigenous, I have heard stories of skinwalkers and Wendigo
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. I mean, we believe we caught an image of a Wendigo in Gettysburg, of all
Which
places,
is
on the
amazing.
battlefield. Yeah, out in the wheat field, believe it or not.
Oh my God, that would be so amazing.
Yeah, and so, like, all we could see are the red eyes.
Right.
And it was insane. And I'm like, well, it's either a Wendigo or it's Mothman.
Right.
Take your pick.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that sighting. Like I'm not a quiet person. You know me. We're talkers. We talk
Just
all the
like
time.
me. Yep.
And at the end of the day, my husband was like, "What the hell's wrong with you? Like, you've been quiet all day." And I'm like, "Dude, you are going to think I'm totally crazy." And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "I think I saw a Bigfoot." He was like, "You're crazy." absolutely crazy. He's like, there's no way that there's Bigfoot here. And I'm like, I don't know, because all day long I've been on my phone looking up things, and there are
Mhm.
reports from Shamokin of
Right.
people seeing it cross railroad tracks and shit. And he's like, they're coal miners. They were drinking, blah, blah, blah. You know, he had an answer for everything. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know. But it, and I'm, you know me, I'm not someone who really gives a shit what people think about me.
Right, I'm the same way.
So I like put myself out there. My husband's like, people are going to think you're crazy. I'm like, I don't really care.
That's
You
okay, they
know,
already think I'm crazy, so
right, right.
we're in good company.
I'm sure they already think I'm nuts. We'll
Right.
just, add some ice cream to the top of that.
Exactly,
And
give me something else to talk about.
so I am now known as the crazy Bigfoot lady, which is fine. It's whatever. I've been called a lot worse. So, but so many more sightings have come since I have been out there,
Exactly, and
putting
I was
myself out there.
shocked because
Yeah,
you
yeah,
you do a festival here, the Central PA Cryptid and Bigfoot Festival, and I was
absolutely.
actually a part of it last year, and I was shocked with the
Yes.
number of people that came out and would
Yeah.
share stories, and,
Yeah.
I don't know if I was, like, one of the few paranormal people there, but, like, I had people coming up to me all day wanting to talk about ghosts and other things, and I was like, "Oh." And that's what really let
Yeah.
me into, because I was like just doing my thing, moseying along, just minding my business, because I've learned over the years when I mind my business, I do much better. And then I've heard all these people that were like talking about this, and I'm like, oh, so that's what led me to really start my own team,
Yeah.
because I think there's a little bit of that lacking now. I mean, I know that one time there was a couple of teams in the area, but I don't hear much about them anymore.
I don't either. I don't either.
And so that's what led me down this path, because like you kind of springboarded me, because I had been in it for 15 years with a team
Yep.
and left, and I was just like, I'm not going to do any of that anymore. I'll research, I'll help other teams, I'll
Yep.
educate, but I ain't gonna. And we had I had my first investigation Sunday night in Danville.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so it was just like, and it was a fundraiser for my friend for her shop, and it was in a private home, and we did a Victorian seance. So it was like that
Ooh.
kind of just your festival, and like now seeing how much it's growing,
Oh,
and it's
girl.
shocking. That's why I
People.
want to have a paranormal one, because I think there's just
Yeah.
our area doesn't have that stuff. Like for us to go to that kind of stuff, we have to drive like all the way out to Penhurst, or
Oh, yeah.
down to Gettysburg. We have nothing, and we have some pretty
Mhm.
hot locations. Like this area in
Oh,
general has so much to offer people in the
so
community.
much. You're damn right.
Yeah,
You're
there's
damn
so
right.
much to offer the people in the
But I
community.
think putting yourself out there, whether people think I'm crazy or not, I really don't care. But this area was kind of tight-lipped
Hmm.
before. People didn't want to talk about it because
They're
they didn't want
very
to be
insular.
they did not want to be labeled as crazy. They did not want to be ridiculed. And then I'm like, I really don't give a shit. Call me whatever you want, but I'm going to
Right.
still live my life and do what I love to do, right? So, and then people started seeing that, hey, look at her go. And they've actually been coming forward and saying,
That is
hey,
so awesome too,
20
because
years ago, I had this thing,
exactly.
right? And I had a guy call me after the very first festival, because this year will be our third.
Right.
He called me after the festival and he said, I have to tell you something. And I'm like, what? And he's like, over on Irish Valley Road, which is,
Like right behind us.
I could probably spit on Irish Valley Road from here.
Yeah.
Well, not really, but
I could
it's
at least hit a golf
yeah,
ball to it.
right. I think it might be half a mile down the road, maybe.
Right.
He's like, over there's some state game lands over there. And he was hunting. This was just 6 or 7 years ago. And he saw a giant black Bigfoot and it was walking in my direction.
Yeah, which after
Now,
it hits you, it comes to me. So
right. And I was like, well, describe it to me. Tell me everything about it. Everything that you can remember. I want you to tell me about this creature. And he gave me the exact creature that I saw walking that day, which is
so
why we do this, right? We
right,
need
exactly.
these reports. We need this kind of information because it's highly possible that we saw the same person,
Right.
the
It's the
same
same.
creature.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just that it's in its migratory pattern.
Right. I mean, it would have been years apart, but still, it's potentially the exact
Right. We
same
don't know.
individual.
we don't know their lifespan.
Right. Right. Right.
And that's what I find, because I've told you about my encounter in
Yes.
Elvira. I was there on a paranormal investigation, and Elvira is kind of set up similar to Point Pleasant out
Yes.
in where the Mothman sightings were with the
Right.
bunker.
Yes.
And we were going down behind the cemetery because, we're paranormal investigators. We're nosy.
You damn
We're
straight.
inquisitive. We want to see everything. So we were walking down, and there's this bunker there, and the door was slightly open, and I got a really bad feeling. So I
Mm.
said to my friend, I'm gonna head back up to the car. So my friend and one of the other girls were gonna go into the bunker, and me and the guy that was in charge of our team at the time were gonna walk back towards the car. As we were walking back towards the car, we just heard this low guttural, like, I don't even know how to explain this growl. I have never heard anything like it in my life.
It
And
makes me so excited.
at that time, I was a big fat girl, and I ran. I was the first one. I didn't even stick around to see what was
Oh,
making the noise. I ran back to the car.
wow.
Like,
Yeah.
I ran, and then I'm like covering myself in frankincense, and because I didn't know, I didn't know what the heck it was. And it was like, even the guy that ran our team at the time, who just recently passed away, he said he had never heard anything like that in his life either.
Mm.
And it was just something that I'll never ever forget. Like, and it
Yeah.
like, to me, I think us working together, because there are, like, if you think about it, and it's something I've been researching for like ever, but you can literally line up people who have seen, and I know this isn't the correct term anymore, but I'm still going to use it, UFOs.
Yeah.
I can never even remember the new term, but I know
UAPs.
UAP. Yeah,
UA
I'm still going to say
If they're still
UFO.
UFOs. Yeah, go for it, girl.
There's a correlation between these sightings of like a Bigfoot or other types of creatures,
Yep.
UFOs, and the paranormal.
Absolutely.
And one of the most astonishing cases of that happened in Point Pleasant.
Mhm.
They had the Men in Black
Yep.
with Mothman, with
Yep.
other sightings that all occurred around the same time that the bridge collapsed.
Collapsed. Yep.
So it's like, as researchers, that's why I think it's big that we work together.
Oh my god, yeah.
Because imagine how much work we could get
Oh.
accomplished if we all, like, shared our. Because I want to go with you guys
Oh,
on a big fun. I just couldn't do it last summer because I was still recuperating.
yeah. Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
I know how my body works,
Right.
and all I need is an air mattress, and I'm good. I used to tell everybody I never want to go camping because my idea of camping is a Super 8 next to the woods. But now, like, the last year, I've been so intrigued with, like, going out
Yes.
and being in the middle of this to see how it's done, because I have never been part of a true, cryptid hunt of any kind. And I've
Yep.
always been fascinated with them.
It's I this past year, because I've had so many things going on, I have not gotten out as much as I've wanted to.
Mhm.
But this coming year, I'm not going to attend some events. I'm
Because
not
you
going
want to research.
because I want to research. I mean, isn't that why we're doing this? Like, I'm not
Exactly.
doing this to travel every weekend to every known location and sell shit. Like, I mean, that's great too, because that helps me fund some of the things that I do.
Right. Exactly.
However, at the end of the day, I would prefer to be in the woods, because that's just me. That's I feel the most comfortable in the woods. I don't care if it's daytime. I don't care if it's nighttime. I don't care if it's cloudy, rainy, cold, hot. I want to be in the woods.
Yeah, see, I was the exact opposite for a very long time. I didn't even like to go into buildings that didn't have modern plumbing. Um, yeah, I usually like at
Yeah.
Penhurst now, going to Penhurst, I know they have, like, outhouses, I think they said.
Yeah, yeah.
But now I think they may have some because they opened the speakeasy in there, so I'm hoping.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I just keep saying to myself, like, "Man, if I can't flush a toilet, I don't wanna go." But I find myself now saying, "I don't care,"
Girl,
because
I got
I
a
wanna
portable
know.
toilet. I got a portable toilet. I take that thing everywhere.
Heck, I told my husband I'll dig a hole in the woods.
I literally have one of those plastic toilets that you take apart and put back together, and you put a bag in it with some stuff, and
So, like, the kind of
you
potty chairs that the old people have.
kinda.
My mother-in-law has one in her shed, so she it has to go to the bathroom, she doesn't have to
Walk
go all
back
the
in
way in
the
the
yeah.
house, all the way up the steps. So
I love that thing. That is the I mean, not
I
I'm not
never
gonna
would
say
have
it's
considered that. Like I have my
yeah.
dad's old latrine shovel from when he
Yeah,
was in
yeah,
the
yeah.
military, and I'm like, I'll take that. I'll dig me a hole. And he's like, I can't believe you're saying this, but I'm just I don't know. I think getting healthy. I think for me
Yes,
is
is
what because like I told you, I was in a wheelchair for quite a few years, and I was investigating actively
which
in
is
the
crazy.
wheelchair. I went
Yeah.
to Gettysburg, and I was on my motorized scooter investigating the battlefield right before COVID. And this year I was able to go back and walk that same area and not
Oh,
have to go through all of that with the taking the scooter and having somebody help me get it in and out of the car
yep.
and having
Yep.
all the space taken up. So it's just like now I just want to embrace everything and just
Absolutely.
go and do it.
Oh,
I
well, you're
you
more
know
than welcome to come out with
Oh,
us
I
because
know you wanted me to come last year, and I had
I
to give
did.
in at the last minute and say, "No, I'm not ready yet."
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, you're coming this year. I don't care what you say. I'm gonna
Yeah,
drag you out of
as
your
long as I
house.
don't have my grandson, I know because I like where do I go? I literally stay in my house and hide from the world. And and it comes back to like what you were saying about this area. We were so insular. Like when I moved here in 98, I was an outsider.
Yes.
And nobody accepted me. I came, not only that, I was very open about who I was as a person.
Right.
I'm into witchcraft, I'm this, I'm that, I'm not like you people.
Yeah.
And I'm being an interfaith minister. All people they were all like, well, you're weird.
Yeah.
But and then God forget I was psychic medium, and they're all like, but you know how many of those people would ask me for readings
Oh,
and stuff like
I
that,
can
and
only
then ask me
imagine.
to put it in an envelope and give it to them at a football game on a Friday night and not let anybody know what it was. And so, I keep that, my clients, I value that. And
Absolutely.
I ain't gonna sit there and well, so and so believes in, in these readings I do, so you should too.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like,
Right.
I don't care if you like what I do, you don't like what I do, you don't believe in it, you do believe in it. Like, I'm me and you're you, and I'm gonna respect you if you respect me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and that's what I loved when I found out about, like, I do know how I missed your festival the first year. I do an event in Leesport,
Ah, yeah,
and it
yeah,
was
yeah.
always the first Saturday of
Yeah.
the month. And that's when your event was. So we were in Leesport. And I remember coming home and seeing all the traffic and stuff. And I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, what the heck? And then, realized it was for your cryptid festival. And I
Yeah.
was like, man, this is nuts. It was worse because we also had Knoebels traffic.
Oh, yeah.
So between everything, I was just like, man, this is why I hate coming up to this side of town.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It made for an interesting traffic.
oh yeah, but then last
Yeah.
year, we had my daughter and I, we had such an amazing time.
I'm so happy that you had a good
Even
time.
with the pouring rain and having a lake under my feet for the end of the day.
Yeah, that was it was beautiful until the very
Beautiful
end.
all
And
day.
then for like 15 minutes, it was like the heavens opened up
I opened
and
up and said,
torrential
"Okay, we're
downpour
done." Okay, we're done.
and people stayed.
They did.
I couldn't believe that. I was
Like,
like,
I
"Wow."
literally pulling my tables because the way our tents were, all the water was coming down on, thank God it wasn't my books.
Yeah.
It was on the
Oh,
other side. It was coming down on, oh my God, I can't even remember. It was stuff that didn't matter if it got wet.
right.
It was like my buttons and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, oh, thank God. But that's why I said this year, I don't care. I'm going inside.
Yeah, we were able to get that big building.
And that's awesome because,
And so now we're going to have indoor spaces available for people.
it's always nice for things like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was
And
nice. It was
I don't
nice.
have to lug my tent,
Right.
which is always a plus for me.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Because that's what I like about going. I'm doing the Battlefield Bash in Gettysburg, and I don't have to take a table, and I don't have to take a tent because it's
Yeah.
all inside the hotel. So, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you were saying, your magazine, which I'm like so excited
Oh,
about your magazine. I have your little link there.
oh yeah. I'll tell you what, I was going through, I don't know if anybody uses Canva, but I use Canva for everything.
That's where my intro and outro come from.
Everything I do is done on Canva. And I was
Yep.
just browsing through, all of the stuff that they have. They have so much stuff that you can
Oh, yeah.
create and do. And I saw it said magazine and I was like, what is this? And like I clicked on it and I was like, huh, I'm gonna make a magazine. And my husband was like, do you have extra free time that you just want to like?
I
I'm like,
know. I'm always
no.
amazed by everything you do because for those of you that don't know, Gwendolyn is also a paramedic.
Yeah, I work a lot of hours
Yeah. So, she
duty.
is literally like superwoman.
I don't sleep a lot. Not because I don't want to. It's just because I have 9 million things to do.
Right.
Yeah, people tell me all the time, I don't know how you do all this stuff. Like I some days I feel like Superwoman, and
Hmm.
other days I feel like, what the hell am I doing to myself?
Oh, I always say
But
that too. And I don't do like everybody always says, oh, but you do so much. Like, I don't know how you do it. And I honestly, compared to you, my life is tranquil.
oh, it I mean, I don't have kids at home.
Right.
So I don't have that kind of responsibility. I mean, we do have a German foreign exchange student with us right now, but normally we wouldn't have kids here. So it's not like I have that added, I got to cook for them, I got to clean for them, I got to do their laundry, all this other stuff. I don't have all that. So, and Mike is great at helping me with household stuff. Like I'm not going to lie. He does most, like probably 99.9% of the laundry.
Hmm. My
Because
husband's the same way.
yeah, and he's a great help here around the house. So I'm thankful to have that. Otherwise, I'd probably be living in squalor because I don't have the time to do. So at some point, something's got to give. But for the most part, we make it work, and he's super super supportive. Like he didn't even know I was making a magazine until I was like halfway through it, and then he was like, "You're doing what?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm making a magazine." He's like, "What the hell is happening?" He's like, where did you find time for this? And I'm like, I don't know, but it's happening. And it happened. And I made it.
Right.
And I was,
And you did. And like, I was thrilled
oh,
when I seen it because I'm like, there are so people don't understand, like, if you really decide you want to do something,
hmm.
you'll find a way to make it happen.
And see, the problem is, it's my whole life. And I won't get into all the ugly details of life, but
Right.
you could literally put my life on a Lifetime movie on TV.
I always say that too. My kids
You
always
know,
say that, like, we're like
mm,
a television show.
yeah. I put my dad in prison for 25 years. So it's got to be pretty bad when he goes away for 25 years.
Oh, exactly. I work in
So
the legal field, so I know
yeah,
that
and
stuff,
I put him there. Like, so when I say my life could literally be a Lifetime movie on TV, if you knew some of the things, you would be like, "Oh my god, how is she still alive?"
And that's
Literally.
the other thing. Besides doing all of this wonderful work, she has started a group for people that are struggling
Yes,
online called the Warrior Club.
the
I'm
Warrior
a
Club.
member of it, and I know some days when I'm just having one of those days, I tend to see something from there that pops up, and I'm like, "Man, I needed that today."
Right. And you
So
know what? I've come a long way. A long way. My whole life, people would tell me I would be nothing and I would get nothing and I would never be anything. And so I felt like a piece of garbage for a very long time. And it wasn't until probably 10 or 15, maybe 10 years ago, I started to get mad.
mhm.
That's literally what happened. I started to get mad and I started to think, you know, for lack of better wording, fuck you, fuck everybody. I don't care. Like I started to take control of my life and I started to say, you're not going to treat me like this anymore, which people really don't like. And you find out who your true friends are.
Right.
And that's a little stingy sometimes.
Oh,
And
exactly, it
and
is.
sometimes you still want to try to maintain that friendship even though it's not a healthy one, but you just got to let that shit go. Man, you just got to let it go. And you got to just say, even if I'm standing here by myself, I'm going to stand here, right? And I started to take control. And then, I was a paranormal investigator before Bigfoot walked into my life, and he literally walked into my life. I mean, I can't say it any
No, yeah,
that's
definitely.
exactly what he did. And he's been here ever since. And like I just don't care. Like I don't care what people think. If you don't want to go down the same road as me, don't.
Right, but
But
don't
don't be
yeah,
weaving in and out neither. You know
yeah,
what I
and
mean? You're either going
don't
to be
be
there
making
or you're not.
that crap about me,
Yeah.
like, let me
Yeah.
be me and I'll let you be you.
Absolutely.
We don't have to cross.
but I have bad days. Like this is a process. I'm never, and I tell this to people and they think it's weird, but I'm never going to be fully healed.
I don't think any of us that have
Right.
experienced this crap
Yeah.
ever will be.
No, you're never fully healed. The wounds, you get a scab, and sometimes the scab comes off and then you get a new scab. Sometimes the scab falls off and you have a scar. And sometimes the scar hurts and sometimes it don't. It's
Yeah.
like my knee injury. Sometimes when the weather's bad, my knee hurts. You know what I mean? So I have bad days too, where things just are hitting me wrong, or I'm not feeling the most confident today, or maybe I'm feeling down today. Maybe I don't feel like I'm 100%. Maybe I'm starting to feel like a piece of garbage again, or whatever. But I look at that page for myself too. Like
Mhm.
I get strength from, because other people have started posting stuff too, which is wonderful. And sometimes I open it up and I'm like, that is like you. It's exactly what I needed to hear today. Like,
And it seems like whenever I need it, like I never really see stuff
yeah,
and then I need it and boom, it's there.
boom, there it is.
And I always say that's, a paranormal term that we use, synchronicity.
It's the universe
Yep.
working for you. Because
Oh, exactly.
I'm not a religious person. Like you, I practice,
Right.
paganism, and I don't dabble in anything dark or ugly. But I believe the universe provides for you.
Yep.
And you sometimes it gives you stuff you didn't ask for, but it happens to know you needed it, and this is the perfect time.
Yep.
And if you want something, you got to ask for it, and the universe will supply it to you if you're supposed to have it. So
And
that's
that's, something that we delved into very long ago that a lot of people don't take stock in, even as
no,
any type of investigator too. We don't do enough to protect ourselves.
no. Mm-mm.
And a lot of times I know myself, I've been laid out in many locations, because I am so open to,
Yes.
and it's because I want to know and I'm inquisitive and I refuse to block anything or to,
Right, right.
put any type of shield around myself, because my view in the paranormal is, as a psychic and as a medium, my job is to share the stories
Absolutely.
of these spirits and these entities, and because they couldn't share their stories in life.
Hmm.
And so I think I take a lot of their stuff on too.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
I mean, I know that is, I'm not sure how you guys are in, in the cryptid field. If you feel the same way about these creatures, if that you want to share their stories.
I do. Yeah, yeah. I had a oh geez, this past I think it'll be a year in April. I think it was maybe August. Might have been August. Let me think about that for a second. I've been working on the abilities that I have, because I've been told my whole life that I've had abilities, and I used to be able to see entities, but as I got older, that kind of went away. But
Right.
I've noticed in the last year, it's starting to come back, where I'm starting to. So I think I'm opening back up. Like I was blocked for a long time, and
Oh
now
yes, something
I'm
definitely
starting.
triggered it to come
Yeah,
back up again.
starting to become open more, and things are happening for me that kind of make me feel like I'm crazy, even though I know I'm not.
That's my
Um,
world.
yeah. So things are happening, and I'm paying more attention to these
Oh,
things.
totally.
So I was in Salt Fork last August, and the weirdest, absolute weirdest thing happened. Now, I look at cryptozoology and Bigfoot as, I don't know what they do. I
Right.
don't know what they are. I don't know how they do what they do. I don't know why they do what they do. I don't know exactly what it is that they like. I
Right.
don't know how they move around. I don't know their lifespan. I don't know if they travel through dimensions and portals, if they can come in and out as they feel. I don't know any of that stuff. And I refuse to conform to it's flesh and blood, or it's alien, or it's paranormal, because
Right.
in research, if you go in thinking it's flesh and blood, it's nothing more, blah, 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 you're going to throw away things because
Right.
it doesn't fit your narrative.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that to me is terrible. If you are truly researching something, you go in open minded, ready to consider all possibilities, because one of us is right and the rest of us are wrong.
Right.
And that is how I approach research with cryptids. If you flat out ask me if I think it's flesh and blood, I'm going to tell you I have no freaking idea. And I say it all the time. I've got no idea.
Oh, and I can agree with that because a lot of times, with the paranormal,
Right.
we have the,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's a ghost, it's a
No.
former human, it's a demon," and I'm like, "Oh my
Oh,
god, no."
I'm so tired of that demon word. It's not even funny.
Oh, and, as an investigator, who actually, the team I was with, that's what we did.
Yeah.
We ruled out those kind of cases. We know that those account for less than 1%
Oh,
of all hauntings.
yes.
And so I could totally get that because I mean, I've heard everything out ultra terrestrial, alien, blah blah
Yeah.
about, these cryptids. And I'm like,
Right.
well, do we really know?
No.
No. And we're gonna look at this utilizing what we're supposed to be, a
Yeah.
pseudoscience. We're supposed
Yeah.
to be using the scientific method. Then by us going in there thinking it's a human or
Yes.
it's human like,
Hmm.
we're totally getting rid of every other possibility and we're not
Absolutely.
utilizing the scientific method appropriately.
I tell people when I see Bigfoot come down out of a spaceship, be beamed down onto the ground, I will totally join your club.
Yep.
If I see it walk out of a portal,
Yep.
I'm on board, right? Until that happens, I'm
These
not.
are only hypotheses.
Yeah, yeah. We're talking about a creature that we can't even prove is real.
Right.
Now there are millions of sightings across the world. Millions of sightings across the world. There has to be something, right? There has to be something.
Well,
I
yeah.
have seen it twice. Once in Ohio and once here at my house. I've seen it twice. I've had many interactions with something that I don't know what it is outside of my property. I can assume that it's Bigfoot because I saw the damn thing. Like
Right.
I saw it 1,000 feet from
Exactly.
my house. I saw it. And we've had a lot of crazy things happen here that I absolutely cannot explain.
The
I
light.
have
I
no.
know me and Mike were talking about
Yes.
the lights that he had seen.
Oh, Jesus.
And I agree because we've seen them.
Yes.
And we're not far from you. So for
No.
us to have seen them and you to have seen them, there's got to be something there.
There has to be something there.
And, my husband, who doesn't always get on board with the paranormal with me, like we have
Right.
running jokes about it. He will tell you he grew up behind Gezzy's.
Yes.
And he will tell you as a child, he remembers himself floating out of his bed and out of his bedroom window and off and away.
Wow.
And he has scars, different places on his body where he's never had an injury. No one knows what they are. No one knows where they came from. But he doesn't like to talk about that in public. I always share it with
Right.
people.
Right.
I'd be like, will you stop? But to
Yeah.
me, it shows you how, we're together, we're married, and yet he doesn't believe in the ghost stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, he does, but he doesn't.
Right.
But he supports me.
Right.
And I give him a hard time about the alien stuff.
Yeah.
Although I was born outside Carbondale, PA, 1 month after the UFO crash that happened there, that they just had the festival, the Carbondalian Festival.
Oh, yes. I heard about
I
that.
was born exactly 1 month after that happened. It was not far from my great grandmother's home. And my mom and my dad were out climbing that mountain trying to find the UFO when my mom was 9 months pregnant for me. And then
Oh
people
my
why
God.
I am who I am.
Right.
Because there's my mom who doesn't believe in this stuff at all,
Right.
but we'll talk about this UFO crash that, oh, they said it was a car and that it was its lights in the pond. But
Oh,
why would
Jesus.
the lights be on underwater and why would everybody see it? And then they said it was a lantern that fell off a train. And my great grandmother told us these stories for years. And she said, why would a lantern stay lit underwater?
It wouldn't.
Yeah.
And you and I, we all know it. So,
Right. And
yeah.
and then they literally said when they came and took whatever it was away, it was on a flatbed truck covered with tarps.
Right.
I wanted to go up for the festival. Unfortunately, I didn't make it.
I wanted to too, but I
Yeah.
think we had another event the same day.
Yeah, I
So
don't
I
remember
couldn't go,
why.
but
I think I just didn't go because
yeah.
I just because I was me. I was being insular and not wanting to leave my house.
Right. Right.
Because I
Yeah.
would have taken my mom because my mom was alive. My mom remembers it. My mom was a part of it.
Right.
and to share like her story. And because I heard that story all the years of my life, and people thought I was crazy. Oh, that couldn't have happened. That didn't happen. And then to see
Yeah.
this festival being broadly, and if you look, you could find the old newspaper articles.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah.
And but yeah, so I thought and that's what I think we need to have something to
Yes.
honor all of this stuff. And
I
that's what I
agree.
love about your festival.
Uh, to think that we're the only ones out there is really stupid,
Exactly.
in my opinion.
Oh, I
We
agree.
we can't get past Mars. Like we've never traveled to another
And the
planet,
only thing that has are
so
rovers, so we don't know
we don't know
exactly
what's
what
there.
they've seen.
Who knows? Saturn could be thriving with people just like us. There could be
Right.
aliens there. There could be anything there. Like we don't freaking know. And what's
Right.
beyond that?
And we don't even know technically what's on Mars. There could
Right.
be whole cities underneath that ground.
No idea what's happening.
And
Right.
that's what,
Right.
I said we don't put enough stock into the research.
Nope.
People just think, oh, ghost hunting. Oh, you just go out to these places and you have
Oh,
fun and get yourself scared. And I'm like, no, we
yeah.
do a lot
No.
more than that. If you're doing
No.
it right, it's about more than going out and being scared.
Right.
Like I
Right.
approach everything I do in twofold.
Yes.
I approach it scientifically, but I also approach it as a psychic medium.
And see, this is where I argue with people because I've met Ron Moorhead several times.
Mhm.
He's a wonderful person. He's extremely nice, very friendly, easy to talk to. He's written several books. One of them, and I have them all. One of them is called The Quantum Bigfoot. They're very easy to read, and I would advise anybody if you're interested in that side of things, take a good look because I've had people flat out say Ron Moorhead's crazy, Ron Moorhead's this, he doesn't know what he's talking about, blah 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 blah. And I look at him and I go, "Do you believe in ghosts?" And they're like, "Well, yeah." And I'm like, "Okay, so why is it so hard to imagine that these creatures could be from another
Exactly.
plane, another dimension?
Exactly.
You believe in ghosts? How do ghosts do what they do? They go through walls, they come and go, they appear 1 second, they're gone. Like, how does that work? Like, if you can believe in that, why can't you believe in something else?
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
And
And they
and
just stand there and look at you like,
oh, yeah, and I'm always shocked with, like, other people in the field that are like, "Well, it's all part of our field."
yes.
And,
Yeah.
I have no problems with skeptics because
Oh, I don't either.
I was always told to approach everything with a
Yeah.
skeptical eye
And
because
I do.
we wanna debunk ourselves before other
Oh,
people can
yeah.
debunk us.
I will
And
debunk it first before
right,
anybody.
and that's what
Absolutely.
I do. I'm like, "No, no,
Yeah.
no, I'll debunk this. I ain't gonna let somebody else, like, post
Nope.
it all over the internet and debunk it
Nope.
me."
Yeah.
But and there was something interesting that I found out when I was doing your festival, which I didn't know this, that Pennsylvania itself has its own token cryptid.
Hmm.
And now I have become obsessed with it. Now my daughter knew this because and my daughter lives out in Huntington.
Okay.
And she's like, "Oh yeah," because she was there working the event with me.
Hmm.
And she's like, "Oh yeah, mom, you've never heard of the squonk?" And I'm like, "No."
Isn't it amazing?
And so
I
now I'm
love
like
it.
obsessed with the squonk. Like, I guess there's like in Johnstown, they have a squonk
They
festival.
a Squonkapalooza they
Yes,
have.
I've seen
Yes.
that. I'm like, I want to go.
I
Now,
know.
where my daughter is, she's not far from Raystown Lake.
Yes, and they have
Raystown Ray. They have, I know people have said, well, it's this, it's not real. Someone
it
made it
intrigues
up.
me because that's a man-made lake.
Right.
So how did it get there?
Exactly.
Right? That intrigues me because I'm like, we supposedly have one in Lake Erie too, which
Right.
is not a man-made lake. That's a
But
natural lake.
is
And
it, my theory has always been, could something crawl from the land and
absolutely.
make its home in the these are all the things I think about because I heard so many times Raystown Ray, they've admitted to that was being fake and
Uh,
just and I'm like, well, I haven't, and if they have, well, maybe they were afraid.
right.
Maybe they were afraid people were going to judge them for saying, well, yeah,
Yep.
I seen it. People, how do people get judged for saying they seen the Loch Ness monster?
Do you know how many people will not come forward because they don't want to be ridiculed and told they're crazy or that they're lying or making something up? No.
Exactly.
Every person who comes to me and tells me their story, I listen to the story. I record the story. I write down every detail they give me, but I still look at it with skepticism. And
Exactly.
I would hope that anybody who hears my story also looks at it with skepticism
Well,
because
I was the same way, like, when I heard, oh, Bigfoot's an impact sinus, I'm like,
absolutely.
"Yeah, no freaking way." And then, my daughter started sharing with all the things that she's seen, and then I was at the festival and hearing all I'm like, "Huh, maybe there's something to this."
Listen, I had a guy call me from Wapwallopin, and I hope up to God I'm saying that right because
You are I
I
have been
butcher that
there very
every time.
much in Wapwallopin.
I have a homeowner there who called me to tell me that not only is he having Bigfoot issues, but he's having paranormal issues and UFO issues.
And that doesn't surprise me.
I'm talking about men in black parked down the street from his house that when he comes outside and he looks at them, they take off. He's been followed to work. He's talking to me about all these UFOs he sees, the Bigfoot stuff, the paranormal stuff. He's hearing voices when they're outside. And I literally was like, okay, this guy's fucking crazy. Right? I recorded it all. I wrote it all down. I'm telling you, I don't care how crazy you tell me, whatever it is. I don't care how crazy it is. I'm still going to come
Gonna
check it
record it.
out because
Right.
I want to see for myself. I went to this guy's house. And let me tell you, I would not have believed it if I hadn't seen it for myself. But there
I can believe
were
that.
UFOs in the goddamn sky. I watched them. I have an airplane app on my damn phone. There was nothing flying in that sky that night. And this thing was like all over the place. I would not have believed it if I hadn't seen it for myself.
And I can attest because, years ago, this is going back, oh my god, it has to be about 30 years ago. My friends had a band,
Hmm.
and their band would travel all over, up in Northeast PA, and, one of the places they went to was the Wapwallopin Fire Department.
Ah, nice.
And, all I could think of when we were there, it was like, "Man, this is deliverance territory up here. There's, like, nobody around. These
There
people are."
are banjos playing,
Yeah,
baby.
exactly, and, but I remember, seeing stuff darting across, and so it doesn't
Yep.
surprise me when you said Wapwallop, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I've been there, don't wanna go back."
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
to me, that stuff is, like, intriguing because, I see we were in West Virginia, and I can't remember the name of the place. We used to do these, like, paranormal camps.
Yeah.
Well, they were retreats before they were camps, so this was a retreat. We were literally, like, laying on the ground. There was no artificial light around us whatsoever
Right.
because we turned off all the cabin lights, and it was just pure black. And we could literally watch in the sky these things moving back and forth
Mm.
between, and we all know stars, could our other solar systems and whatnot.
Yep.
And we were literally watching them like they were workers moving back and forth between these areas. And it was astonishing. But then at the same time, in that same area, there were cryptid sightings.
Hmm.
And, there was tons of paranormal activity.
Yep.
And that's what really led me to, like, my hypothesis that there's something going on
Yeah.
in these areas because all of these things are happening. So we need to, like, sit down and figure it out together.
Well, I have to say that ancient aliens went to this guy's house
Oh, that's
to
pretty cool. We
to
like.
investigate some circles that were burnt into his grass.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I have all of this evidence. So he shows me a photograph of Travis Taylor. Travis Taylor came to their house. If there's anybody I would ever want to sit down and pick his brain, it would be totally Travis Taylor. Smartest man on the earth is standing there with this guy and his family, and above their heads, I swear to God, I would not believe it if I did not see it for myself, was a portal in the picture.
Wow.
And it's not anything I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like it since. It's in the photo. And I immediately went, "What's that above your head?" And It's not anything that could have been made by a camera. I have had this checked out by people. Like, I don't know what it is, but there's something there. And I know I set up a, I need to do it again because it didn't work out very well. I set up a tri-fold investigation.
Mhm.
I took my Bigfoot team. MUFON was supposed to be there to do the UFO stuff, and I had a paranormal team come. So MUFON did not show up initially. So the paranormal team split up between the house and there's a graveyard across the street. So some of them went to the graveyard, some of them stayed at his house. I took my group into the woods. Super creepy at nighttime, super creepy area. I'm going to say it was probably 12:30 or so. We came out and we're standing in the parking or in the driveway of this family's home, and we're out in the country. It's way out in the backwoods of Wapwallopen, and the MUFON guy shows up. This is the craziest story, and if, I honestly wouldn't believe it if I hadn't experienced it for myself. And I'm not a racist person, not whatsoever, not with
Oh,
sex,
yeah.
gender, or religion, anything.
Right.
So the MUFON guy shows up with this other guy who happened to be black, and he gets out and he's doing very weird stuff. I think they were on something, both of them. Like I don't know, powerful weed, some kind of drug, something. They were really bizarre. And he's like, "Who was in the cemetery?" And everybody that was in the cemetery is like, "Me." And he makes them stand in a circle and he's saging them. And I'm watching because I was a paranormal investigator. I know all about saging and stuff.
Right.
And I'm watching him and I'm thinking, this is the craziest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. I have no idea what's happening right now. But I'm just watching. I'm paying
And they're
super close.
UFO guys.
Yeah, the UFO guys. So the black guy gets, now he says he's Indian and whatever, dude, right? I don't care. He gets in his car and he drives over to the cemetery. And I was like, what the hell is he doing? And then we hear gunshots. No word of a lie, gunshots. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? So my husband gets in my car and drives to the cemetery. Me and the homeowner run to the cemetery. Now the cemetery, I'm not going to say it's fairly new, but it's not full, right?
Right.
And it's like the hill that it goes up and kind of crests and then down the cemetery. So to get down to the wood line, you got to drive through the grass in the cemetery where there's no graves yet. And he drove down to the wood line and was firing shots off, right? So
At
I get
12:30 at night.
Yes. So I get up to the cemetery and he starts screaming at me that I can't be there. And I looked at him and I said, dude, you are not big enough to tell me that I can't be here. Like, you're not in charge of me. You don't own me. I don't belong to you. You're not my husband. You're not my kid. You're nothing. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I've had enough of you already. The whole weird saging thing. And then this, he said something came out of the woods after him.
So you
Dude,
shoot it.
I would have come out of the woods after you.
So you
acted like
shoot
an
it.
idiot. But the thing that made me very angry is that I know for a fact, because I have friends that are Indian, of Indian descent,
Yeah.
in various different tribes, and they are very respectful of the dead.
100%. You know, I'm
Yeah,
Lakota.
they
And
would have
I would never
never.
trampled over,
No,
even if there weren't graves there. You know,
right, and there
it's
wasn't
still a
graves there, but
cemetery.
right, it's a cemetery, it's sacred ground.
Yes.
And I was like, he's not Indian. There's no freaking way, because he would have never driven through the grass down to that wood line. So my husband's shut the car off. He's sitting on the road in the cemetery. And me and the homeowner are standing at the top of the hill, just looking down at the wood line. And everybody says, talk to the Bigfoot, right? And I'm not used to doing this, talking to the Bigfoot. I don't talk to the wood people,
Yeah,
the
okay.
forest people,
Yeah.
right? Because it seems funny and stupid. So I thought, I'm going to take a stab in the dark at this, right? So I'm like, listen, forest people, we are very sorry for this guy. I don't know who he was. He was not invited here. We don't condone anything that he's done. So if he has upset you in any way, we are super sorry. He will never be back. And, please accept our apology. And me and the homeowner are standing there. We have no idea what's about to happen, right? So off to our left, this pack of coyotes starts chipping and chirping, and carrying on. And then another pack of coyotes to our right starts firing off. So you have these two packs of coyotes just yipping and carrying on. And out of nowhere comes this giant howl. And I freaked the fuck out in a good
I
way.
would have turned around and ran.
I was like, oh my God, do you hear that? Like I pointed and I'm like, do you hear that? And I was like super excited and
I think it was
energized.
them letting you know that they accepted your apology.
The homeowner stood next to me and every ounce of color drained from his body, his entire body. He goes, I don't feel very good. I want to leave.
Oh,
My
wow.
husband is sitting in the car with the window down, car is turned off, and heard nothing. He didn't hear
Wow.
coyotes. He didn't hear the howl. He didn't hear nothing. So we leave the cemetery and we go back to the house and we go home. And I'm still like, hours later, I'm still on
Oh,
fire.
yeah,
Like,
when you get that rush from
yeah,
something like that happening.
electrified. I was so like, ah. And the homeowner called me like 3 days later and said, I still don't feel good. And my kid's now afraid that Bigfoot is going to come and kill us. And I was like, listen, this doesn't work this way. Bigfoot is not going to come, and please tell him that this is not what Bigfoot does. This is not like he's not going to come and kill all of you. I could really punch this Indian guy in the face, this so-called Indian guy, because he literally scarred that fucking family in a matter of just a few minutes.
Right, and that is something that we don't talk enough about either, that there are so many charlatans and people that
Oh,
do literally go out there and are basing on scaring and that's
yep.
why, I had said these quote unquote dark teams and teams that
Yes.
focus, like they are literally in the business of scaring people
Oh,
and
absolutely.
not helping them.
Well, Mufon had come to the house before this with the ancient alien people to investigate these burn
Right.
marks in the grass. And so the homeowner, when he called me that day, he was like, I don't ever want that Jason guy back here from MUFON. I was joining MUFON at the time and had taken my exam to become a field investigator, which I no longer wish to be a part of that organization after this whole experience.
I've heard that from a lot of people that they've
Yeah,
had that experience, but going through that process.
I dropped it. The homeowner's like, I only want you to handle it. Like you handle the MUFON stuff from now on. And after that experience with this MUFON character, like I've been on Fred Saluga and I are very good friends, and he is the assistant state director for the Pennsylvania. I called him and said, who the fuck is this Jason? Because was ridiculous. I explained what happened with the gunshots and the Indian guy and the whole 9 yards. And I was like, dude, the homeowner is like freaking out. And he doesn't ever want to see Jason on his property ever again. And now it's to the point where MUFON is not welcome
Wow.
to the property.
And that's
But
hard because then these
oh,
organizations that are supposed to be getting, helping are getting discredited because of one or two people.
yeah, because he was so horrible. But the whole point of having the three groups there was to see if something the Bigfoot team did triggered something for the paranormal
Paranormal
team
team
and
and the
vice
UFO
versa
team.
for the rest of us. Right.
Right.
So like
I
our
would kill to do that type of an
oh
investigation because
well,
I have always had, like I've done investigations on cryptids as a paranormal investigator, not
mhm,
with a actual cryptid team.
right.
I have done, like I said, the stuff that we did when we seen the things floating,
Mhm,
but never with someone that actually went through the training in it.
right.
And I know the team I work with Phantom Detectives as their spirituality and occult person, they have a guy. He was a member of MUFON, but he left, and now he has his own UFO organization. And
Yes.
I'm intrigued. This is something I want just to experience because I think like anything else, the more people working together, we might actually get some plausible
Mhm.
answers.
And that's the problem with this whole thing. We should all be working together. Why not?
Exactly.
But even in the big field or the cryptid university, where you have the flesh and blood people versus the UFO people versus
Right.
the
Oh, and it's
dimensional
like, yeah,
people,
everything.
we should still all be working together because none of us, one
None
of
of
us
us
is
truly
right.
know, and nobody truly knows. Like,
But you can't though. The flesh
and
and blood
I,
people don't want to be out there in the woods with
yeah, because
the
they don't.
paranormal people.
And that's
Ridiculous.
why there's so much need, and I've seen so many people bringing this up, there's so much need for some people, for people to get together and start having conversations about what we need to do and
Oh
work
my gosh,
together.
absolutely.
And that's,
Absolutely.
something that I'm hoping, going through my podcast is, and speaking to people,
Yes.
is, trying to bring, because I've worked with people now, like I said, metaphysical people, with, ghost people. And now I have
Yep.
you, I'm hoping to get someone in the alien field on, just
Yes.
simply because they're all levels of the paranormal. They're all sub
Absolutely.
levels. I even want to get people on that do the psi work,
Yeah.
because I spent time at the Rhine Institute down
Hmm.
in North Carolina studying psi phenomena.
Yep.
And it's all the little pieces put together. Like I say, being an interfaith preacher, I'd say it's all these little pieces that come together to make a gemstone.
Yes.
And without the facets, you have nothing.
Right.
And it's the same way in our field.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
the exact same way. And if
Now,
you can believe that ghosts do that, or you can believe that
right.
aliens exist and that they have the technology to travel light years in a second to come here, and
Exactly.
that they can have just abduct people and suck them up into a spaceship, then why the fuck can't Bigfoot come through a portal?
Exactly. Or
Or
why
do the
can't
exact same
he
thing a
just
ghost
be
does?
here?
Why does Bigfoot have to be a physical entity anyway? Why
Right.
can't it be a ghost?
Why can't he be anything?
And I'm not saying that he isn't a physical entity. That's not at all what I'm saying.
Right.
But what I'm saying is I don't know what the fuck it is.
No, and I say the
I
same
would
thing.
love for him to come out of the woods, sit down next to the fire with me, drink a beer, and tell me how the hell it all works. That'd be fantastic. But let's face it, that's not going to
Not gonna
happen.
happen. I wish, I have tons of fires up by the woods, but I
Okay.
can't. And that's something too that's really funny, because we do our fire pit is literally up next to the wood line,
Hmm.
and I do not like to be up there alone after dark. If all the kids come down the house and I'm sitting up at the fire
Uh-huh.
jamming, I feel like I'm being watched, and I get very uncomfortable, and
We
I
had
come running down to the house.
oh, mhm. I've been uncomfortable in the middle of the day here because I think they've been watching me for quite some
Oh
time.
yeah, I don't go up back alone
Yeah,
ever.
they're mimicking my voice outside. They're throwing rocks at us when they're not at us, I guess I should say, because like Mike and I will be outside working, and you'll hear this rock come
And
through the
they're
trees,
letting you know they're there.
and it lands like right in the middle of us, and it's funny because Mike will be like, "I'm going in the house," and he'll be like, "Are you coming?" I'm like, "No, I'm going to finish doing what I'm doing," because if he wanted to hit us with the rock, I think he would have hit us.
Yeah, see, with me, nope. I went up a
Yep.
couple of times when I first met my husband to burn trash, and that was enough for me. Nope, I do not go up there alone
Yeah.
ever.
There have been times where I have felt uncomfortable outside, like that maybe something was upset with something and I just didn't feel comfortable, and I've come right back in the house and
Oh
been
yeah.
like, I was going to sit out on the patio, but I'm
Oh,
not.
I go up
Like,
and
I'm
put
coming in.
offerings. I leave
Yeah.
offering. It's part of my belief.
Yeah.
I leave offerings to the fae and to the land
Hmm.
spirits and the tree spirits, and go up and hug the trees and whatnot. But like my daughter says, there's something different when you go in there and you're actually
There
standing in
is.
there. It just
There is.
feels like something is alive.
I took a group of guys. I shouldn't say a group. It was Sean Forker and Matt Arner and Sean's kid. Carrie and Steve were here. Um, we went into the woods right up the back of my property where all the stuff has happened. And we were all getting ready to go into the woods. We were all standing on my patio. We were talking about, what we were going to do, how we were going to do it. And this god awful, blood curdling scream came from the woods like a woman was being murdered. And I took off. Steve took off. We ran to the woods, into the woods, and it stopped. I've never heard it again. I never heard it before that night. But the next day, there was a poisonous tree, a sumac tree.
Hmm.
We had one at the edge of the wood line, and of course, nobody's touching that thing because I'm not getting
Right,
poisoned. My husband's not getting poisoned.
right.
It was snapped at 5 feet in the air. Like the whole top of it's real
Oh, that's
healthy. The
nuts.
leaves are green. Everything. It looked like a healthy tree, but it was snapped. And Mike was like, "That wasn't like that yesterday. I need you to come here and look at this." And I walked down there, and I'm like, "Yeah, that was standing straight up the night before." And the tension in the air, like you could have cut that with a butter knife. They were clearly unhappy that I took people into the woods. here at the house because that's their area. And I
Right.
took people in there and I have never taken anyone in there since then. Anyone. I can go in there, Mike can go in there, and it's fine. But if I take other people in there, it's not okay. And they let me know it that it's not okay. But I have no problem taking people like to the other my other research areas that are in this area, but just not these woods behind my house. It's just the weirdest thing.
Yeah,
Like,
I get that too because when we would have kids over,
yeah,
my kids could go up there and we had
yes,
no issues. But if they weren't my kids or they weren't me,
it's a
things
problem.
just got really weird.
Yes, exactly.
Really weird.
And people look at me like she's crazy. No, I'm not crazy,
No,
but
and I think they're territorial, just like,
I think so.
you don't know. Like, I think a lot of these homes that people are investigating, especially these more public locations,
Yeah,
those entities and those spirits are territorial. That's their place. Like,
yeah. I
and
say all
and
the
when you
time.
don't respect them, they're
Yeah,
not going to respect you.
that's Bigfoot's living room.
Right.
When I step into the living room, if I find a kill site where there's a lot of bones, I'm like, okay, well, this is the kitchen.
Right.
You
It
know,
makes sense.
and we're kind of like TV for Bigfoot. He's watching us. I totally think it's probably hilarious to them that they throw a rock and Mike goes in the house. It's kind of like, hey, watch
I'm with
this.
Mike.
I can throw this rock and that guy's gonna leave. And
I'm with Mike.
how funny is that?
Yep, I'm with
Yeah,
Mike. I
not
wouldn't even
me.
go in the house. I'd be running back to my house.
I stay out there. I've heard wood knocks out there already. I'll be taking care of the chickens and I hear this, one solid knock and I'm like, okay, you guys are here, no big deal. Like, I think if they wanted to hurt us, it would have happened by now already because this has been 4 years.
Oh, and I agree with that too.
Yeah, I saw
But
Bigfoot 4 years ago here.
and I
So
still think I'm still on board with Mike, man. But
yeah,
he's also more of the paranormal guy. So
he is.
so
I
I
mean,
think
we
all of us paranormal
yeah,
investigators, we're all a matter of okay, something bad's gonna happen. Let's go. Let's run. Let's get out of here.
right,
We're not
right,
gonna get involved with that.
right, right. Yeah, I mean, we live in a haunted house. Our house is haunted by four
I think this
entities.
whole area.
Oh, I think so. And the thing is we're the second owners of this house. This is not even an old house.
Right.
Like it was built in
Yeah,
like '99 or
I think
something.
it's the land,
It is.
honestly. It is totally like, that's what I get. Now,
Yeah,
my house has a paranormal history.
right.
The family that lived here, their daughter was killed getting off the school bus on
Oh,
61 back in the
oh,
70s.
oh my gosh, that's
And
horrible.
so, we have that paranormal. The one owner
Yeah.
was a funeral director.
Oh.
So, yeah, so my house does have, a history to
Mhm.
it besides the land.
Yeah.
And this house, it's an old Sears kit house from like, I don't even know, the
Oh, yeah,
30s.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just been added on to so many times you can't really see the kit
The
part
original,
of it
yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
We know where it was originally. Like my living room and my dining room and my 2 upstairs bedrooms were the original house.
Right,
And
right.
then the basement, underneath my office and the porch was added on. But
Mhm.
then that other part of the basement, we actually have a miner's basement.
Oh,
So
nice.
the kitchen was down there, and
Mhm.
the old shower is still down there where they would come
Oh my
home and
gosh.
take the shower right downstairs
Right?
before they came into the house.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
yeah, it's an old miner's house for sure. And, I even look at that correlation because
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of John Sable,
Yeah.
and he wrote all those books about ghost excavation and the
Mhm.
ghost mines and all that stuff, and I think that that's another reason why we have so much, because like, underneath us
Yeah.
all, what is there?
Yeah.
What is there? Like, all the way from
Yeah.
here, probably up to Scranton and down to West Virginia. We're mines, like mine upon mine. And we had the Knox mine disaster in Wilkes-Barre.
Mhm.
Yeah, I grew up hearing a lot about that because my grandfather was a coal miner.
Right.
And then we have Centralia,
Absolutely.
which I always tell people it is not haunted.
Right.
However, there may be a Bigfoot up there. There's
I
something up there, man. Because I get weird feelings when I used to go up there all the time, and it wasn't on the graffiti highway.
right.
It was when you parked by the, cemetery and went back behind the cemetery. Back there, man, I would stay back there for a few minutes, and I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm done.
I'm leaving.
I'm going now." I could walk up and down that graffiti highway, and at
Well,
times I would feel
I
like,
have a theory that there's a lot of abandoned coal mines out there.
Oh, no doubt.
And you can go out there in the wintertime and see steam coming up out of the ground.
See, I hadn't, the last time I had been out there in the winter, like we would normally see it by the crack,
Yeah.
but we hadn't seen any the last time we were out there in the dead of winter. But
Yeah.
I haven't gone back in
I
a
took a
while.
thermal camera out there one day and you could see just how lit up the ground is. That it's
Right,
incredible. And there is no reason why a Bigfoot couldn't stay here year round
right.
and live in those abandoned mines. Nobody goes out there ever. Like all of those
And
mines have
maybe
been
all that
abandoned.
smoke we're thinking is the mine fire is actually them keeping themselves warm.
Could very well be. Could very well be.
Because, like, my
But
theory
those
is
but
that
those
has been
mines are,
burning for
yeah,
so long. It
since
should
the late
all by
60s.
now should all be up towards like Ashland and stuff.
It is on fire under Ashland. I know they've been talking about it's also on fire like under Wilburton
Okay,
because
yep, I
it's
know where
moving.
Wilburton is. Yep.
I mean, it's probably been burning there for years and nobody's really paid much
Well, they said
attention
the
to it.
amount of
But
anthracite under there is just
oh,
so
it's
tremendous. It could burn for like hundreds of thousands of years.
yeah, yeah. I believe it will. It'll take forever for that to burn out because there's so much there. But I truly believe that there's a huge possibility that Bigfoot could literally be living in all of those abandoned mines and shit out there because it's
But
been so
still,
long. They closed those mines down in the
right.
60s because
Oh,
they were
yeah.
on fire.
And I
Like,
remember hearing stories like in the 80s when I
yes.
was a kid and there were still a lot of people living there. Like I remember when the
Hmm.
kids fell through.
Yes.
And
Yep.
that was on, like, Channel 16 News when I was
Hmm.
growing up, and that was, like, the big joke when I was a kid. I'm gonna go to Centralia someday. I'm gonna live by Centralia." My mom was just like, "Ah, shut up. That's too far away." And so, like, it was like I tell these people, like, all the time, "You don't even realize, like, how psychic I was."
Right.
And now I remind my mom, like, "Hey, mom, what did I used to tell you when I was a kid?"
Yeah.
And she's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah," and I didn't believe it. And I said, "You know where I go?" I mean, I performed weddings up there.
Hmm.
You know, you would be, like, shocked. People wanted to get married on the graffiti highway.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Okay, let's go."
It
You
was
know,
beautiful. It was
it was,
beautiful back in
and
the
I
day.
know kids when my kids were in high school, they would get their senior pictures taken up there.
Yep.
You know, right behind
And yeah.
Shamokin, they have the whole wall
Yep.
that changes every so many years when kids start covering up other kids' stuff, but
Yep.
it was like a rite of passage.
Yep. Yep.
And so, like, now before we end, I just want, because I know a lot of people don't understand, the whole got knockers.
Yeah, I get
I
that a
did
lot.
when I heard it because I had friends that were in the community and I knew what knockers were. So
Right.
for those of people out there that don't understand, can you just explain to them what the knockers are and the got knockers?
Well, Bigfoot is thought to communicate with other Bigfoot by either taking tree branches and beating them on trees, or maybe clacking rocks together, or even smacking their hands together. So I was on an expedition with the BFRO, where one of the guys that was leading the expedition found this tree branch and he cut it in half and he debarked the things. And I jokingly said, "When I go home, I'm going to make you a shirt." And I did. I came home, I made him a got knockers shirt because he had these really cool knockers to knock on trees with. And he was like, "You have to trademark that." And I was like, "Get the hell out of here. People are going to think I'm crazy. Got knockers. Come on." And then I ended up trademarking it. And I get asked that a lot, actually.
Well, and I knew it was something I wanted to ask because
Yeah.
I know not many people know what these knockers are. Like people hear it and giggle. And I mean, now I my grandson is 2 years old and he wears a got knockers shirt.
I love it.
Yeah, and I don't care, but he hates Littlefoot.
Oh.
He sees Littlefoot and he, like, throws it. He's like, "No," and I'm like, "Okay." So I'm hoping they bring him to the festival this year so he could see,
Oh,
like,
that would be awesome.
actual Bigfoot, you know,
Yeah,
the
because we're gonna have one.
so but no, I just wanna thank you so much, and
Oh, thanks
hopefully
for
when you
having
get
me.
some more research done, we can get together again because I know I wanna get together at Mike again too, so
Absolutely. Well, I
and
know we want to put together another trifold investigation
oh,
out there in
definitely. You
Walpin. So
definitely know where to find me because, I would definitely get some respectful people together, and
that would be
the
awesome.
group that I had Sunday night out in Danville was pretty awesome.
That's awesome. And
So,
I'll have to go with you on a paranormal investigation
definitely, you're always welcome. You
because I
know,
used to I used to do that, and then Bigfoot has taken over
there are so
everything, and I
many
haven't gotten
places
to
that
it.
I wanna go,
Mhm.
And there's so many, like, I'm huge into urban legends, true crime, and they're connected with
Yeah.
paranormal, so there are so many places I wanna go.
Yes.
So, definitely, we definitely have to get together, but
Absolutely.
thank you so
Oh,
much.
well, thank you for having me because it was
Awesome.
fun.
Yeah, it always is, and I'm so glad you're able to come on, jet lag and all. So, just hang tight, guys, and I'll be right back. From our friends at Got Knockers, Strange Knocks Magazine. Strange Knocks Magazine is your ultimate
Mhm.
companion for exploring the enigmatic corners of our world. Delve into the shadows with us as we uncover the mysteries surrounding cryptids like Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster, and examine the tantalizing possibility of extraterrestrial life visiting Earth. Our pages are filled with compelling true crime stories that defy conventional explanation, alongside mind bending conspiracy theories that challenge the status quo. Whether you're a seasoned skeptic or a curious believer, Strange Knocks Magazine invites you to expand your horizons and entertain the unexplained. With captivating articles, expert interviews, and reader submissions, each issue promises to spark your imagination and thrill your sense of wonder. Join us in our quest to illuminate the unknown, one strange knock at a time. From our friends at Got Knockers Strange Knocks magazine, read the description for further information. Be a Moss Healing Collective in Milton, Pennsylvania, your one stop shop for crystals, candles, herbs, books, divination tools, self care, and healing. Amos offers a multitude of classes for your metaphysical and witchy needs. Check them out on Broadway Street in Milton, Pennsylvania. Amos Healing Collective. Look for more information in the description.